Here's Charlie Dickens, chapter 15, entitled Clear. Slowly the rain became a patter, and then the dark clouds moved away as if they weren't wanted. Time to go, said Tinker, and they walked out from under the trees as a rainbow appeared in the sky. That's a good sign, said Tinker as they trudged across the fields. Charlie looked over at the reservoir. He's gone, he said, and Tinker didn't have to ask who he was referring to. Bob had disappeared with the storm. Another good sign, said Charlie. I hope that we don't bump into him again, he said, and Tinker nodded in agreement. Charlie looked up and he saw Spider-Man sitting in the burning tree, and he gave him a wink, and he shot a plume of web into the distance, where it wrapped itself tightly against the steel arm of the electricity pylon. Spider-Man tugged at it quickly, and then he swung across the trees with ease at lightning speed, and in the space of a few seconds he was sitting on the silver arm of the pylon with a big grin on his face, looking very cocky. What are you dreaming about? Said Tinker. Oh, nothing, said Charlie, and in an instant Spider-Man was gone. Charlie was disappointed, but he knew that he'd be back to help him. Bob had had a good day. He'd made two good friends in his mind, and he'd caught a very big fish, which he couldn't wait to cut up for supper. He lived in a caravan on the edge of the woods, which he'd found abandoned when he'd finally got out of prison. He'd broken open the lock and had made himself at home. It was small and cozy, and he had a TV and an old crackly radio. It was like heaven to him after being inside. Everything else that he wanted he could scrounge or steal, he thought, without a conscience. Many times he had sat in his armchair and he thought of his time in the prison. The fights, the stealing, constantly being on his guard and waiting for someone to attack him. Bob was a tough cookie, but even he had to be careful. All it took was a second for him to be set upon. He needed to be like an owl with eyes in the back of his head. Now that he was free, he enjoyed watching the smoke curl up to the ceiling. He felt content and determined to make the most of his twilight years, and his thoughts once again turned to the two boys.